Hey guys, welcome back, and today we're talking about Conversations with God, the first of the series by Neale Donald Walsch, which is like pretty fucking hard to say after saying Paramahansa Yogananda for so long. Now it's like this, pick two names, all right? Why do you have to have three? So I want to give like the background about this book a little bit, going into the series, and share with you guys some of my insights. The link to this book will be in the description. Support the book, get it from your library, do what you got to do. Okay, just read the book. Don't just listen to me talk about it. Very important. Okay, so the premise of this book, Conversations with God, an Uncommon Dialogue, is that Neale was one day very frustrated with God and his life, and he's just writing God a letter saying, what is happening? WTF, I need some answers. Like, tell me what the hell is going on. And in that, he says his hand got possessed, and God starts writing, hey, what's up? Well, obviously not that casual, but he was like, I got some questions. And so he starts this dialogue with God about, life, the universe, work, war, famine, whatever. He starts talking about everything. So in this book, he particularly starts talking, and he says in the preface, right? He's like, listen, I don't know if I was having a conversation with God. But what I do know is that the words rang true to me. And on top of that, they have helped so many people. So, if you don't like the word God, just use another word, but also just take what you want and leave the rest, right? So I really appreciated that, because sometimes these people can be a little bit, I don't know, maybe they're delusional. I don't know. I know a lot of channelers, right? Bashar, the Seth, Abraham. There are people who believe that they channel these entities. Now, whether it's God, I don't know. Whether it's another entity that they can channel, I don't know. What I do know is that everything that I have read, again, has rang true. So, talking about that, I do also want to point out, I want to say like about 10 years ago, I read this book called Outwitting the Devil. Shit, I should have looked who, I forgot who wrote it, but it was called Outwitting the Devil. And everything that I have read so far is pretty much the exact same information. What I found interesting was that in Outwitting the Devil, it's like, hey, this is how the world works, and this is how I try to subvert it as the devil. And this book, what's interesting is like, oh, this is how the world works, and this is how you think you're subverting it and leaving my side, but I am everything. I am God. So the premise also is like, hey, if you believe that I created the devil, then I am the devil. Like, I have created everything. And the fact that, like, if you believe that the devil can defeat me, like, I created the devil. The devil cannot defeat me. So it comes from this, like, very omnipotent, I am the alpha, I am the omega, I am the positive, I am the negative, I am everything. So it's very interesting to see it from that perspective, right? There is no good or bad, no judgment. It's very much like, this is just life, period and apart. Okay, so there's also that. And then finally, what I have also found very interesting in reading this book is the information in this book is, I don't even know how to put this, but basically everything that is being said here has been said for centuries. Like, you can find this information in the Bible, in the Vedas. Like, I've been studying Kabbalah, so in some of that you could, like, the wisdom that's in here is the same thing that you hear there. Like, nothing about this is new. It's just said in a different way, in a conversation with God while I'm writing kind of a way. And, if this information just gets to you even just a little bit, I think it's worth a read. I will say it's a little bit dense, but I think, it's an enjoyable book, and I thought it was interesting, so I'm going to share this with you guys, okay? So we're going to get right into it, into chapter 1, page 1. Haha, right? So this was him writing the letter. So he goes, It was a spiteful, passionate letter, full of confusions, contortions, and condemnations, and a pile of angry questions. Why wasn't my life working? What would it take to get it to work? Why could I not find happiness in relationships? Was the experience of adequate money going to elude me forever? Finally, and most emphatically, what had I done to deserve a life of such continuing struggle? So the reason that I really thought that this was important is because most of the profound changes that have happened in my life and the people who I coach come from this absolute desperate place of nothing is fucking working. Help. Come save me. Something needs to give. And the fact that these three, because it's a trilogy, the fact that these three books came out of this desperate cry to God is not surprising. This was like a point in his life that changed his life forever, and that he documented it like this was very powerful, because it wasn't just, hey, I don't have a boyfriend. He's like, I don't have money. I don't have a relationship. I have nothing. Like, what the fuck did I do to be in this position? And crying out to God, Gaia, the universe, the creator, however you want to define it, at that point is surrender. And surrender, look, I just spit all over myself. And surrender is the point where change can happen. If you still believe that you have the power to change things, that your will is the one that's going to make everything all better, then you still have more suffering to do, in my opinion. Because the most radical changes, and it doesn't even have to be as severe as being homeless or, being cheated on or divorced. It doesn't even have to be severe to get you to a point to surrender. But what I'm saying is, until you have absolute surrender to the universe, you're going to be spinning your wheels and living in the same cycle over and over and over again, right where you are. Nothing changes if you don't change. And so the fact that he's writing this thing and being very much the relationship with work, with life, with money, all these things, and he's just am I doomed to this fate forever? He's come to a point where he's just done. Done. And actually, I want to share a stupid story of mine. But, a long time ago, I was in a very toxic relationship. And I remember I was at a point where I was just I got to get out of here. I don't care if I have to take me and my daughter to a shelter. I have to get out. And I remember I'm sobbing, crying, and I get in my car. And at the time, I didn't know that my car did this, but I'm trying to turn the car on, and I'm turning the key. And my car flashes 3 times, and the words done came out on the dashboard. And I just remember thinking, what the F, right? What the fuck? And I'm just thinking all right, am I done? Or is God, was it I just asked the genie to fix my life and it was your wish is my command, done. But I knew at that point something changed, because I knew in me, I was just I give up. Whatever happens, happens. My car is done. I am done. Everything is done. And you know what happened after that? I found a nice apartment. I started going to college. My life took a radical turn. So when I tell you that absolutely 100% you have to get to a point of surrender, it's not me preaching, it's not me telling you, hey, this is what the book has said, this is what the Veda has said, this is what the Bible has said, this is what whatever has said. No. When you get to a point of surrender, I personally have firsthand knowledge and experience that the most radical changes happen from that point. And again, it doesn't have to come from, leaving a toxic relationship. It doesn't have to come from something like that, but you have to surrender. And most of the time, well, not most of the time, but a lot of the time, it does come from those extreme situations because you just have nothing left. But if you take inventory that you really just don't have anything, that none of this is yours, and that you're just ready to be on on your merry way to the next cycle, to the next phase of life, to the next level, if you can embody that and just surrender and be and ease into it with love, kindness, compassion for yourself, you're going to find that radical changes can happen in your life. Okay, Okay, guys, that is it for the first episode of Conversations with God. I hope you guys are here for this ride, for this journey. I'm going to put a link in the description to the book. Also going to put a link in the description to my book, which is Writing for My Life. I honestly found that journaling, writing has helped me process a lot of emotional, psychological, and spiritual. I'm having trouble talking today, but all of this emotional stuff that I have had going on that I found helping everything was writing. I'm also going to put a link to my podcast so you guys can hear me stumble more through my words, which I release a podcast episode Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. And with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Love you. Bye.